So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K24 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another episode of our Throwback Rebuild series, and today it's the 2019 Boston Celtics. To say this was a very interesting season for the Celtics would be the understatement of the century. Now, on paper, they are certainly a very talented roster. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but this was a team that it was very evident had quite a bit of chemistry issues. I remember watching them, and I knew how good they could be. It just never really all clicked at the same time. So this was obviously the final season of the Kyrie Irving, I don't know if you want to call it an era in Boston, but this was Kyrie's final season with the Celtics. Of course, ended up taking his talents to the Brooklyn Nets. So we're going to have some decisions to make today. Obviously, you know, you have the Jays on this roster, Mr. Tatum, Mr. Brown. We're going to see, hopefully anyways, if they can grow into the roles where they are at today. Wanted to give a big thank you to all of you guys for all the support you guys have been showing me throughout the historic rebuilds. I know the month of August is absolutely brutal for rebuilds. It's just kind of hanging on to, you know, basically straws at this point. We are trying to do literally any single thing that you guys want to see. So, of course, you guys know the drill. Let me know down below in the comment section anything else you want to see, because we're only a few weeks away from 2K25 at this point, and then it is onward and upward. I am excited for this one today. Obviously, the Celtics are my team, and let's get into it. As we arrive at the start of the 2018-19 NBA season, we discussed this a little bit in the introduction. There is obviously a lot of talent on this team. Let's talk about this roster. But of course, as I'm sure many of you know, this isn't a super team or anything like that. But what I just want to use as an example with super teams, right? You see this all the time. Talent up the frickin' wazoo. They have so many guys that are so goddamn good. And for whatever reason, chemistry just isn't there. That was a great kind of way to describe this Celtics team. Now, I wouldn't consider this a super team or anything like that, but this was a group with a whole lot of talent on it. Obviously, a lot of different guys at different stages of their careers. And this is a team that really just never found an identity. So let's go ahead and let's just discuss, starting out here at the point guard spot, the Kyrie Irving era in Boston was an interesting one. It was a time that there was a lot of optimism around, but ultimately ended up kind of flailing out. I know him and Hayward had problems. He was not always happy with some of the younger guys not being as mature as he wished, and really just never worked out. So I personally don't really have anything against Kyrie. I know a lot of Celtics fans do. I don't really care anymore. I was obviously pissed at the time, but I think after, you know, beating him in the finals, it's okay. It's over with. But 1 year expiring contract. I'm not sure if we're going to be keeping him here today. I would like to, because he is incredibly talented, and obviously here in 2K, you know, the whole chemistry thing and locker room vibes don't really matter as much. So we'll go year to year with him. Got Terry Rozier, 24 years of age. He is an expiring contract. He's an incredible option at the backup point guard spot. We know he ended up obviously becoming a really solid NBA player, and he is a guy that I'd like to hang on to. So we'll figure that out. Brad Wanamaker, Celtics legend. He was an NBA journeyman, I would say. He is a 69, basically 70 overall right now. I know that's not his actual, you know, player mold, if you will. That's, you know, user created, but he's kind of our third guy we have right here at the point guard spot. Mr. Jaylen Brown, who from this point in his career, he would be entering his third season, had just taken leaps and bounds. He had gotten better every single year, and obviously we know he just won a Finals MVP in real life. My fucking GOAT, baby. Marcus Smart, it legitimately hurts me to see him back in a Celtics jersey. I miss him every single day. He's on a 4-year contract. He's going to be a nice rotation piece for us. You know, might not ever reach the levels that he truly did, just because playing time in 2K and the minutes like that are going to be a little bit different than what they probably were in real life, but I love Marcus. PJ Dozier here as well, just a role piece, probably never going to actually see the court. We head over to the small forward spot. This is an interesting one for me. I'm obviously going to start Jason Tatum. We know what Jason Tatum, you know, is eventually going to blossom into. A lot of people probably could have seen that in his rookie season. And he is a guy that emerged a lot quicker than many people projected him to. Now, Gordon Hayward is his backup. If you remember back, Gordon Hayward was the big signing that the Celtics made. Kyrie Irving was the big trade. They were introduced at a press conference together. Then, 5 minutes into their start of their careers together, or their partnership, if you will, Gordon Hayward had a bone sticking out of his leg. So that was obviously less than ideal. At this point, Gordon Hayward was back, but had really kind of just fallen out of that superstar. I don't know if superstar is the right word, but that star status, if you will, was a little bit of a shell of himself, obviously with the 2 J's ahead of him, which I believe he actually discussed on Paul George's podcast, just saying they didn't expect Jason Jaylen to be this good that quickly, and it definitely hindered at his minutes a little bit. So he's an 80 overall. I don't know what we're going to do with him. He's certainly a solid backup option behind JT, but we'll figure it out on a year-to-year basis. The power forward spot, Marcus Morris, who I actually thought was a really solid Celtic. I think he had a lot of good things with this team. On a one-year deal, definitely a nice rotation piece. Semi Ojeleye, who it's not an actually, Semi Ojeleye, it's just a user-created thing, but he is so goddamn built. It's actually insane. Like, pound for pound, might be one of the strongest dudes I've ever seen. Gershon Yabusele, the dancing bear. Oh, man. I'm sure many of you are now familiar with Mr. Yabusele. All right, and then the center spot, Al Horford, eventually ended up departing for the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, he's 32 years old. Under a 2-year contract, he left for Philadelphia. That was one of the worst experiments of all time. Got traded to Oklahoma City and then eventually brought back in a trade for Kemba Walker. It's a whole ordeal. Probably none of it's going to happen today. Aaron Baines, that's not Aaron Baines. Oh, my God. Daniel Tice is here, and then we have a very young and explosive Robert Williams. So, again, I don't want you guys to, think I'm trying to make this team into something that it's not, because clearly they are talented, and even though it was a down year, they won 49 games. They were the 4th seed in the East, lost in round 2 to the Bucks in 5 games. This is certainly a team that definitely does need some work. So we're going to have probably 1 or 2 trades before we kick off year 1. I don't think it's going to be anything major, though. We're making a little upgrade here at the backup power forward spot while also clearing out the logjam we had at our center position. Now, Aaron Baines and Daniel Tice are both very decent backup center options, but ultimately I have a 21-year-old Robert Williams, and we all know how good he eventually ends up being, so I want to get him some playing time. Baines and Tice are both expiring. I understand Al-Farouq Aminu and Nick Stauskas, the 2 players we're acquiring from Portland here, are also expiring, but we're getting an upgrade for the now because I do think this is a team that can be competitive right off the rip. So that is going to be our first trade. I think, honestly, I might just kind of run with it, right? I mean, there's no reason to really force the issue. We have 10 guys that are all certainly capable of playing right now, so let's set that rotation for year 1. 1 trade down, and we are ready to kick off this first season. On paper, this team is obviously good. Now, there is a very, very interesting kind of situation we find ourselves in, because although we are very good, hypothetically, if everybody on this team was in their prime, I'd have absolutely zero doubts that this would be a championship, probably winning team. But that is not the case we found ourselves in. Kyrie is in his prime. Al Horford's a little past his prime. The Jays are obviously very young, and pretty much everybody else is just in the midst of their career. So it's a weird spot. Again, I do think this team's going to be good, but I just want to be kind of cautiously optimistic as we head into year 1, because you might think to yourself, hey, there's a 100% chance this is going to be a top 2 seed, definitely going to be in the mix. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It's Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, who, by the way, they actually don't suggest I start. They want me to start Marcus Smart over him, and as much as I do love Marcus, he is obviously not nearly as good of a player as Jaylen is. So JB will be starting. JT next to him at the small forward spot. Marcus Morris here at the 4, and then Al Horford at the 5. There's an argument to make, say, hey, maybe play Hayward or Tatum at the 4. Certainly would be a better player than Morris, but it's fine. We're going to have Hayward run the second unit. Got Marcus Smart behind him, Al-Farouq Aminu, who we just acquired from the Portland Trailblazers, Scary Terry, and then Robert Williams rounding out this 10-man rotation, all under Brad Stevens or whoever the hell that is. So I am ready here for year 1. I think this is going to be a fun season. I will see you guys at the end of it. A very strong first season for us has come to an end. We finished with a record of 58-24. As I mentioned, this was a 49-win team. In real life, of course, they don't have the luxury of playing with no chemistry and no injuries and all that stuff, but I will take it. Certainly a very strong start. Russell Westbrook pretty much always wins the MVP award here at the end of year 1. Luka Doncic is your Rookie of the Year. Spencer Dinwiddie, 6th man. Kawhi Leonard, still in San Antonio. He is your D-boy. Karis LeVert, Most Improved. And Brett Brown, I don't know why. Everything about this roster is like super accurate, like when it comes to players. Not 100% obviously, because they are user created. I am always very appreciative, of the people that spend, their time making these things. But the rosters are pretty damn accurate. The coaches, though, there's not like any real coaches in there. They're like all user created with real names and accurate stuff like that. But I don't know why. Like, Brad Stevens probably in, 2K at some, I don't know, a lot of guys are. Like, Steve Kerr, there's a fake Steve Kerr in here. It's very, very weird. We are the 3 seed here in the East. You can see it right there. They were the 4 seed in real life. Milwaukee and Philadelphia won 1 and 2 more games than us, respectively. We take a look over here at the West, and it is Oklahoma City and Golden State. With the Reigns, all right, let's go ahead and dive into some numbers real quick. Kyrie Irving was our leading points per game scorer. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Hayward, Horford, Morris, Smart, Scary Terry, Aminu. You got Rob Will down there. Rebounds led by Horford, and assists was Kyrie. So, us in the Indiana Pacers here. In round 1, Corey Joseph. Wow. Victor Oladipo, man. Ugh. Not even like such a what if. It's just, if you didn't watch Prime Victor Oladipo, I really recommend you go turn on some of his highlights. His time, especially in Indiana, was so fun to watch. I mean, this was a man who took Prime LeBron, I don't know if you can say Prime, but, LeBron to 7 games. It's insane. Tyreek Evans, Thad Young, Sabonis, Bojan Bogdanovic, Miles Turner. All right, we are definitely better than this team. I don't really think that's up for debate too much, so we should be able to get the job done relatively easy, but we are 2-2. Do go up 3-2. Full Game 7. Win Game 7. All right. A battle as old as time, the Celtics versus the 76ers. I would not like to be the team that ends the streak of the Celtics kicking the Sixers shit in, so let's maybe beat them. 1-1, win 1 on the road, win Game 3 at home, and Game 4. Okay. Thank you. On to the East Finals. It is us and the Toronto Raptors. This is the team that did end up winning it all. I talked about this the last time I used this shared file. I do not know why. Almost everything, as I was also just talking about, is pretty much perfect. I'm not sure why Kawhi Leonard and DeMar DeRozan are on their respective teams, right? The DeMar and Kawhi trade happened prior to the start of the 2018-19 NBA season. So technically speaking, Kawhi should be here. I'm just going to, I got to like put a note to myself and go update it because I've been using this shared file quite a bit. I will try to remember. It's very, very weird. That being said, the Raptors are always in the mix. They're about to go to the finals probably. It's very, very strange. Okay, Thunder end up winning it all. Russell Westbrook does get a ring. Happy to see Russ getting one, and they sweep. So, okay, first offseason for us here. Very excited about the possibilities. We have some flexibility, I'd certainly say. Maybe not a ton of financial flexibility. We do have some flexibility. This is stupid. It's called a lottery. That is good. And then some uniforms and stuff. Okay, we now head up to said lottery. I don't think we have any other teams' picks potentially, so we'll just sim through this real quick. We do have our own pick. It is at number 27, and that is all I am seeing right now. So, Brad Stevens, he is still here, technically, and still was in real life. Ime Udoka took over at the start of the 21-22 campaign, and then obviously was there for one season, took the team to the finals, and then things outside of the basketball court happened. It's now led me to Mr. Joe Mazzulla. But no, that's a long speech to basically say we're hanging on to Brad Stevens. Let's head up to the draft. The 27th overall pick is certainly not an elite pick by any means, but it is a draft pick where I think I can hopefully get somebody with some sort of value, right? I think there's going to be some player here like Joe Boy. Well, I could do what they did in real life and just take Grant Williams. I do see Keldon Johnson here, Cody Martin, Lou Dort is sitting here. The thing is that, Jordan Poole's sitting here. The problem is that these projections and these overalls are not going to be, based upon what these NBA players are today, right? If you see the rankings and the overall projections, a lot of these guys who would be higher than the Jarrett Culvers of the world and the Luka Samaniches are probably going to be 70 overalls, while these guys up here are 73, 74. So I might take Jarrett Culver. I'm not going to lie to you. He obviously turned out to be a draft bust, which is, a safe thing to say at this point, but I don't think it's going to be the same here in 2K, right? Obviously, if I was going to take somebody, to be as good as they actually are in real life, I would certainly be interested in Keldon Johnson or Lou Dort or even Jordan Poole. But here for a 2K reason, for 2 more years of this rebuild, it's going to be Jarrett Culver. Now, people might give me some shit for that, but it's the way it's going to go because he's a 72. Okay, 1 overall lower. All right, Jaylen Brown obviously going to be brought back. We look at qualifying. We have none. And then as we head into free agency, we obviously have one, pretty big free agent here. It looks like the Clippers, Mavericks, funny enough, Suns, New York Knicks, and then the Brooklyn Nets all making a play for Mr. Irving. So I would like to just pay Kyrie. That is a max. Him and the Celtics obviously did not end well here in a different reality. Let's just pretend that they did. So we're going to pay Mr. Irving. I will also pay Morris. I think I'd like to have him continue to be my backup center. Dozier's got, Rozier is gone right now. Okay, he is somebody I would like to not lose, preferably. I'd like to hang on to him. I would. So let's see, is it possible for me to pay Scary Terry? I might have to wait. I don't think he'll get offers right now, so I think we're probably good. Do not renounce him. And then is it going to let me bring him back? It is, which is fantastic because I do want to hang on to Rozier. All right, we bring him back. I do think it is time for an upgrade here in this starting 5. Oh, funny trade here with the New York Knicks. We just landed ourselves Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously ended up becoming a Celtic anyways. We are doing it several years in advance at this point, and he is not nearly as good as he is now. Still solid numbers all across the board, but he's going to be a nice upgrade at our power forward spot. We sent out Gordon Hayward, Semi Ojeleye, and I believe 1 first-round pick in the deal. It was not certainly the craziest price to pay, but I am happy to add Porzingis to this team. Now, he is listed as a power forward here. I think technically when he came into the league and started out his career with New York, he was playing a lot of the 4. Today, he plays more of the 5. I'm not super worried about it. Now, he might be a little bit slower than a traditional power forward, but he certainly is still capable of spacing the floor. So we are basically all set, I think, at this point. So we had a really strong season last year. We're going to look to build upon that, and I will see you guys at the start of year 2. Last season, we made it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and then got swept by the Toronto Raptors. Of course, an unfortunate ending to a really promising first season. But we are back, and I think we are better than where we were at. Of course, the Jays are both progressing quite nicely, made the deal to acquire Kristaps Porzingis, and I think this is a team that is hopefully going to be a very serious threat here in the East. It is Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Tingus Pingus, and Mr. Al Horford. See a little bit of regression out of Al. Now, that is expected at 33 years old, by 2K standards, if you will, but I don't know. Al Horford shouldn't be regressing. You got Marcus Smart now taking over 6-man responsibilities off the bench. Brought back Marcus Morris. He's got Scary Terry, Robert Williams, and then Jarrett Culver, who is going to be playing 10 minutes a night. So that is where we're at right now. Again, I think this should be one of the top teams in the East. Hopefully a serious contender. And I'll see you guys at the end of year 2. A lot of deja vu going on right now. Russell Westbrook wins another MVP, and we also go 58-24 once again. Of course, it is a great record. We are very much in the mix here in the East, and we'll find out what our seed is in just a minute. Zion Williamson is a Charlotte Hornet. They took him with the number 1 overall selection, as the Pelicans did in real life, and wins Rookie of the Year. Dennis Schroeder is your 6th Man of the Year in OKC. Giannis is your D-Boy. Aaron Holiday, Most Improved. And Nate McMillan, 61 wins there in Indiana. They take the 1 seed. We are once again a 3 seed as well. Just a whole lot of deja vu right now. Here's a look at the West. Okay, let's go over some numbers real quick. All across the board, it was Jason Tatum taking over the reins as our leading scorer. Kyrie Irving, Kristaps Porzingis was a nice addition. JB, Horford, Morris, Smart, Rozier, Williams, and then Culver. Rebounds were led by Al Horford, and assists was Kyrie. So, us and the Bucks here, round 1. Pretty sure the Bucks were a top 2 seed last year, so certainly something to keep an eye on. That is a user-created Eric Bledsoe. You got Malcolm Brogdon, Middleton, Giannis, Lopez, Dante DiVincenzo, Connaughton, Dellavedova. They're a talented team, and I think it's very clear to say that Giannis is the best player in this series. We just are apparently a way better team as we sweep them. Wow, was not expecting that. We move on to the defending Eastern Conference champion Toronto Raptors. I'm not going to lie, I did make a little bit of a play to attempt to acquire Pascal Siakam. Unfortunately, it was not happening. We obviously pivoted to Kristaps Porzingis, and this is a team that's still really, really good. So I am nervous. This is definitely going to be a challenge. We are down 2-1 right now, down 3-1. Wow, we are just losing it. Wow, the Pacers. Oh, well, that helps. Yeah, Mr. Nikola Jokic. And they win the 2020 NBA Finals. Okay, now heading into our final season. We obviously have some choices and some decisions to make. That's just the play-in tournament, I think. That's cool. We have some things to decide on, right? This is, a team that is obviously been in win-now mode this entire rebuild. We haven't been selecting high in the draft or anything like that. Also haven't really been making any major free agent signings. So it truly is kind of now or never, in my opinion. We have the 26th overall pick in round 2. We're going to pass on using that right now. And as we head up to team player options here, I'm trying to think about where in this starting 5 we maybe could consider some upgrades. We do see Jaylen Brown and Al Horford both entering free agency. It looks like the Pelicans are making a little play for Al, but I'm going to try to retain his services. And then Mr. Jaylen Brown has not even a real offer. All right, he wants about $23 million annually, which is certainly a hefty price to pay, but you know what? He is definitely worth it. Okay, we bring them both back, and now it is time, I think, for some other changes. We're hitting up the Milwaukee Bucks because I'm of the belief that we need one more upgrade in this starting 5. Now, obviously, you can see that Chris Middleton would be the player we are trying to acquire, and it is going to physically pain me to trade 2 of my favorite Celtics or former Celtics, and Marcus Smart and Robert Williams, but I would be willing to do it because I do know that it is championship or bust time. Marcus Morris would also be included in a hypothetical trade, and they actually take that straight up. So, if you were wondering what is then going to end up happening, I am going to move Tatum to the 4, where he actually plays a lot of nowadays. He's physically able to, and then I move Tingus Pingus to the center spot because I expect a little bit more regression out of Al Horford. So at this point in time, our only goal is to really sign some backups. We obviously depleted our bench unit a little bit, but we kind of had no other choice. So nothing wrong with Jarrett Culver, but maybe has a little bit of value, 2 stars, and still relatively young. So any team want to give me another player like Tyreke Evans is 30. Not a terrible season out of Tyreek last year. I really need a backup shooting guard, backup power forward, or potentially small forward. So basically 2 through 3 at this point. I guess Tyreek Evans is going to be my guy. All right, welcome to the team. Might see a little regression, but he is an upgrade. And then let's head over to the shooting guard spot. A guy like Evan Fournier is certainly a nice piece that we could consider adding. He has 4 offers right now, about $23.5 million over 3. I'm just curious, what is that annually? 23.5 divided by 3. About $7.8 million a year. Can we beat that? Looks like we can. All right, I'd be happy to bring in Fournier. He obviously ended up being a Celtic anyways. Was not certainly great, but he is a former one to say the least. All right, and then my power forward options are not great, which is kind of expected. This is probably going to be our 10th and final guy. And I guess Davis Bertans, just because he's still relatively young at 28, and he can space the floor a little bit. So this is going to be the roster we enter our 3rd and final regular season with, and hopefully it's the one that can bring home. Technically, it would be Banner 18. It is safe to say we have approached championship or bust territory. This was a team that was immensely talented when we started this rebuild. We are obviously even better now, but I will be extremely disappointed if this team does not win a championship. It is Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, obviously added Chris Middleton to this group. JT moves to the 4, and then Kristaps Porzingis, who just isn't progressing whatsoever, which is, I guess, a little strange considering, his age and the situation he's in, but it is what it is. Fournier is going to take over as 6-man. It could be Al Horford. I'd be perfectly fine with that. You guys just know me, though. I don't really love traditional big men as 6-man. We're going to have a quick conversation about the number that Evan Fournier is wearing, because not only is he the one doing it, but it's numbers. Well, it wouldn't be at this point, but number 5 is it's a disgusting act to let Evan Fournier wear that. It's the big tickets number. Al Horford, Tyreek Evans, Terry Rozier, and then Davis Bertans. So I know we maybe hurt a little bit on the bottom end of the bench, but we improved the starting 5, got some progression as well, and here goes nothing, man. See you guys at the end of the final regular season. Year 3 is our best record yet. It is 64-18. We're certainly not setting greatest record in NBA history or anything like that, but we are. Hopefully the 1 seed, finally. I'm sick of being the 3 seed. The defending finals MVP, Mr. Nikola Jokic, who is obviously now an Indiana Pacer, is your MVP. Anthony Edwards is now in New York. He's your Rookie of the Year. Reggie Jackson, 6th man. Giannis is your DPOY. Sabonis, Most Improved. And Brad Stevens, or whoever that is impersonating him, is your Coach of the Year. Okay, we are the 1 seed. You all saw that. We are 2 games up on the defending champs, and it was the best record in the league. So it's time. I mean, that's all I really got to say at this point. It is now or never. There is way too much talent on this team to not win, and I will be immensely disappointed if we don't. So us in the Orlando Magic. Ja Morant, so they must have had the number 2 overall pick in 2019. They did. Malik Beasley, Otto Porter, Gordon. They're good. They just don't move me nearly enough to take them seriously. So we end up sweeping them. We move on to the 76ers, who we did beat in year 1. Markelle Fultz, who's up to an 86 overall, had a fantastic start to his playoff run. Okay, I mean, they were supposed to be the big 3, him, Simmons, and Embiid moving forward in Philadelphia. Obviously, things went awry, if you will, and as we head into the Eastern Conference Finals to take on the Indiana Pacers, we are feeling good. Of course, we all know this could end at any moment because Oladipo and Jokic got Miles Turner playing the 4. They are a talented duo, so I'm a little nervous. Split the first 2 at home, lose 3. Oh, my God. The powers of Nikola Jokic are out of this world. God damn, man. What happened? Here in the conference finals, Tatum was pretty good. Jaylen Brown. I mean, it's almost poetic, right? For the Celtics rebuild with Kyrie Irving to end like this, right? All right, man. Can't win them all. Immensely disappointed that we didn't win this one because we obviously started out with a really good kind of blueprint and a really good core already. But these things happen, and unfortunately, did not get it done, man. With my own goddamn team, I'm disappointed in myself. I really, really am. But that's it for this one. I wish I could have got it done, but I did not. Let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section. Of course, we've basically just been doing historic rebuilds, prospect rebuilds. If you guys have any challenges you really want to see before the start of 2K25, you can also let me know those down below in the comment section. I know it's been a while since we've done some of those, and I know a lot of you guys do love them. So let me know. That is it for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.